What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's talk some NFL. Thank you guys for tuning in. Say hello in the comments. We'll wait for everybody to kind of sprinkle in here. And if you are new and finding the show for the first time, hit that like button and subscribe. Possibly have a special guest appearance. We'll see kind of what happens. If that does come to fruition, we'll get it probably midstream. So who is watching right now? And we are starting to get hit by a little bit of a bug, so I do apologize if I have lost my voice. Welcome in, welcome in. Ben, what's up, man? Awesome. It's good to hear. I came a little bit short myself, but we did all right. I had a little play on the Falcons plus 3.5, so we'll take it. Mike, what's up, man? Yeah, no video today. Kind of got hung up doing some other things, so I just felt let's just do something before the games kick off. I know we won't get the best numbers, but still, we'll talk about kind of what we have going on. Mike's in the house. What's happening? And yes, we are starting to sprinkle in. So I do appreciate you guys all taking the time out of your day to follow along as we break down these two games. And I love the doubleheader Monday nights. Okay. Trying to get someone else, special guest. We're trying to do maybe a dual stream. I'm going to see. But yeah, apparently not going to make it. So I'll just be doing this one solo unless I get somebody to hop on. So how'd you guys do over the weekend? I had a absolute horrible bad beat day yesterday. And if you guys followed my picks, so did you. And Saturday was one again where 1 and 2, I'll wear it. But we still are profitable in college football and the NFL. It is what it is. So yesterday I was on the Chiefs, had Travis Kelce on my fantasy team, and that unfortunate leverage call by the Denver Broncos from a 65 or whatever 60-plus yard field goal. Okay, so I don't know if you guys ever played football, but on a 60-plus yard field goal, the one thing that you don't want to do is jump off sides, A, and B, you don't want to commit a penalty and have an untimed down, okay? So let alone a 15-yard personal foul leverage call that just basically wrapped the deal up for the Colts. So if you guys believe the fix is in, and first off, I'm never that type of guy. So I do tip my cap and shout out to anybody who was on the Colts and not on the side that I was, but that was one of the more ferocious calls, just because if you know football, that ref has to be looking for that. And from a distance of that magnitude, there's no shot that I'm ever doing that I'm not trying to block a 65-yard field goal. Okay. I think you just let gravity block that kick, if you know what I mean. So we'll talk about that. Like I said, I apologize for my voice. Starting to lose my voice. This whole talking thing just kind of gets me every once in a while. So we will be. I do have a cough drop. I probably should not be doing the other stuff that makes my throat a little dry, if you know what I mean. But we will keep this going. I promise you guys, we have a lot of action tonight. This is actually two games that I wish I could have talked about yesterday because they would have been significantly featured in my best bets for the Sunday card, but we get them both on Monday. So we'll enjoy staying up here late on the East Coast, watching some Chargers and Raiders, some AFC West. So appreciate you guys. Let's say hello to who's in the chat. Joe, what's up, man? I'm just going to say Ben for this one, but appreciate you, man. Rich in the house. Mike, what's going on? T-Win. Paul, DW. Blonktokes in the house. And Jaden Daniels doubtful for week 3 knee. Yeah, him and Burrow, man. That's my fantasy football team is getting – I'm in a very I'm in like $1,000 league that we split with another buddy. And I'm about to go 0-2. Okay. And I'm not happy about it. I had Burrow basically lose me both weeks. And not from a lack of him doing bad. He had 8 points before he got hurt early on in that game. But from a fantasy standpoint, let's just say we're going to be Team Texans. I need about 11.5 points from the Texans defense to bring home the hardware. So it'll be fun. Cam Deeney, what's going on, man? Starling in the house. Scott, what's up, brother? Elijah, thank you guys all for tuning in. If you have not hit those thumbs up buttons, that is all we care about here on YouTube. If you want to get me in the algorithm, you want to grow this thing, I need you guys all to hit that thumbs up. And I love doing live streams, okay? And I do have to make the videos, but it just, eventually we got a lot of stuff coming. If you guys don't know what my house looks like, but I do pretty much have a dedicated room separate from the family that is basically not a man cave, but it is perfect for a little podcast, studio, whatever. And so I've always toyed with the idea of having a couple cameras and just basically doing like, kind of like a war room live stream every day, not airing the games, but just airing reactions, what we're doing live in-game opportunities, just kind of getting the vibe for a lot of people who, maybe can't watch the game with anybody and they just want to hang out. So something I thought about doing. We'll see if it comes to fruition this year. Albert, what's going on, man? Patrick, thank you guys all for tuning in. We will kind of do some cool stuff here. Like I said, I love this card tonight. Love it, love it, love it from a fantasy standpoint. So, Childress is back with the emojis. So we'll go as long as we can go. And Christian knows what I'm talking about. So might have a little bit of an echo of that sentiment. And if you guys don't mind, I'm going to bring one of my buddies out there in the crypto world that we do sports a lot. And I might send him a link to hop on, but I'm going to run this card and we'll kind of stick around and just talk some shop here before we get out of here. So yeah, Ben, yeah, I got you, man. Ticket tripper for life. Yeah, appreciate the kind words. So I promise you we won't let leverage calls keep us from being profitable on Sundays. It's just not going to happen every single week. Okay. So why not? All right, guys, let's get into it. We got enough people here. I do appreciate the support. And if you guys have stuff that you're on, please fire away. But we only have 29 thumbs up and there is 60 plus people watching right now. Get those thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. Let's blow this one out of the water. I want to do the best NFL live stream before the Monday night action, because if we do this and we can repeat this, this is enough that my wife will let me talk some football every single day. I do like the live streams, and there's a lot that I want to be doing different and better. So we kind of just slap these together, and it's the same facts, same numbers, same sheets, but it's, I do like the open air, just airing it out with you guys. It's just more, don't want to use the word intimate. It sounds kind of weird, but you know what I'm saying? It's more one-on-one, kind of what I want to get from this whole channel anyways. Okay. And yeah, why not? I got to throw this one up here. Fabian, come on, man. You're telling me the Bengals were down 17-7. They put in Browning, and then next thing you know, the Bengals are winning outright. So there was not a lot to be said yesterday. And I will say, I'm pretty sure you could guys go check me. But I'm pretty sure in weeks 1 and 2, there has not been too many dogs of 3 points or more that have actually won outright. So keep that in mind. Yeah, Fabian, man. I didn't bet that one personally. That was fickle, man, because I was kind of biased. I needed Burrow to do well. So that was one of the plays I liked. I did love that over. So if you guys followed that over, congrats. Steve, you think the Raiders are live on the money line? We'll talk about that deeper in the show. Yeah, I mean, I'm Team Herbert now. So we'll talk about kind of Geno Smith and some of the numbers from last week leading up into this game. Very intriguing within this matchup. We do have the kind of the Q tag, right, from what we get with Brock Bowers. So Don't know exactly how to project that one, but they do have a nice backup there with Michael Mayer. So it's something where I think the Chargers, though, might be a little bit too much for them. So we'll talk about a lot of bets here. And guys, I'm going to have a lot of bets that they're not my plays that I'm personally playing, but there's a lot of things I like in these two games. So I don't necessarily do this too often. I usually kind of keep it restricted, but I'm just kind of let them fly today. So whatever bets you guys like, feel free, comment, and feel free to fire on them at your own discretion. Okay. Chargers by 10, Texans by 10. Little alt love for you. Yeah. I can get down with that. I hate to say it. I can get down with that. I just worry about Texans scoring right now. Mr. T, Fairbairn and Dicker over 1.5, 2-leg parlay. Yeah, let's do that. That's something, you know me. I like kickers props and quarterback rushing props. Both home teams a win at home to win tonight. You know, it's funny you say that, but we'll see. We'll see. Sorry, I'm trying to get Joey to hop on. I was teasing it, but we're working out some of the hockey details for this year. So that was my surprise for you guys, because Joey was firing on some touchdowns. He's kind of my anytime touchdown guy. Patrick, yeah, there are a few. And one thing I will tell you, though, do not fall in love with those look-ahead lines, because they have not really done the job. I think there's a lot of people that basically have been crushing it in weeks 1 and 2 due to the favorites. Just the favorites have been dominating. So don't always kind of just play the numbers. I mean, it's good if you are only doing that, sure. But I think some of the closing line value, if you look at games that move like 3 points or more, I think they actually covered a lot of times in both directions. So, and I apologize. Like I said, I got to rock a cough drop. I'd love to be doing one of these things but I'm losing my voice. I can't take it. I think it was that Notre Dame game watching the cold. So okay, so I'm gonna have my co-owner, a former professional broadcaster, hop on this live stream, and if you guys don't mind having him, great insight, and if you guys haven't heard, I'm not endorsed by Chipotle, but before we get going, tell your significant other, tell your brother, tell your mom, your dad, Chipotle, buy one, get one free. College fan jersey appreciation day. So Chipotle, buy one, get one free burritos right now. This is the last day. I don't think they've advertised it. So if you guys want to get some Chipotle before Monday Night Football, not a bad move. Okay. So here, I'm going to add my buddy to this. Former professional broadcaster. So if he talks like he knows how to talk, it's probably because he actually did that for a living. Okay. But my co-owner in my fantasy football league will be joining. I'll add him to the stage and we'll get this one rolling. Okay. So once we get this going, we're going to start off with Tampa Bay and Houston, and then we'll get through these two games. Then we'll kind of talk about week 3 NFL. Yeah, but not till after the live stream, Collar. Okay, you got to stick around a little bit. And like I said, guys, I know a lot of people are probably driving at the kiosk, whatever it may be, but we only got 46 thumbs up and 68 people watching. Okay. Oh God, my 5-year financial security depends on me hitting a parlay tonight. Yeah, I've been there, but not a place I like to hang out. Okay, but I will tell you one thing. It's not good to do, and you know, I'm just going to be honest with you. There's not a lot of people who can bet 162 baseball games and not have to deposit money. So I will say, do not chase. All right, do not chase. Be responsible. We've all been here. Okay, so might be taking a little bit too long for him to jump in. So let's hit it. Let's talk some sports. And yeah, let's get it. If you guys want music on, feel free to let me know. Okay. Let me know. And I'm going to find one that looks the best. And we're going to go with this one right now. Yeah, I got a lot of fun stuff planned for the channel. I just don't have the time. I hate to say it. I just don't have the time. So as always, guys, we're going to use Outlier here. And if you are not using Outlier, all right, best tool. There's a couple I use. This is my go-to. I wake up in the morning, get my coffee. This is where I start my day off. If you don't use Outlier, please, link down below. 7-day free trial. I don't get paid. It doesn't matter. It's just me getting you guys hooked up with a 7-day free trial. Used to, but not anymore. I still use it, though. Uh-oh, this is interesting. Who is this per? Oh, that's interesting. All right, I got to find out how to add a layout here. And then let me know how this sounds, guys, on your end. Oh, not him. All right, we'll get this way.
There we go.
Zach, what's going on, man?
What's happening? What's going on?
Uh-oh, he's cross-promoting right now. A huge crypto guy, and myself included. We don't talk crypto too much. It's a betting channel, but I thought I'd bring my co-fantasy football owner on the stream. We got almost 100 people live before Monday Night Football. We're going to be airing it out, talking it. These are the boys and some of the ladies that tuned in. So we'll have some fun with this, talk these two games, and hopefully you're bringing over some beers later.
What's going on, Mark?
Yeah,
how you doing, man? Little double whammy tonight, huh? A little West Coast,
for sure.
West Coast late night game.
I got to find out how to put you on the side, man.
We need that Texans defense to show up big time.
Yeah, for sure. You know how to add you to the layout so I could do the screen too?
If you just did the, what if you did that?
Here, I got it. Camera slot. There we go. We'll get you zoomed down. There we go. We'll mess with this.
That works.
Joey might hop on too. So
yeah, if you do that, I think there's like a multi-view.
Yeah, we'll just screw around with this one for a little bit. Yeah, right on. I like it. This is what we're gonna roll with. Okay, so see a little JP in the house. Polygon boys. He knows what's up.
A little layer 2 on ETH, huh? How about Base Chain today's coming out? They announced they're coming out with their own token. Brian Armstrong put that out on X.
All right, you got to calm down over here. All right, you're off the clock. All right, guys, let's get this going. If Joey pops up, we will have a little three-peat here. We'll give Zach a shot. All right, maybe get 3 of the brightest minds in the sports world, but we'll have Zach give you guys a call from tonight's game a little later on too. Like I said, professional broadcaster. Yeah, so it'll probably make your guys tonight. We'll get a little Geno Smith call. All right. But anyways, guys, appreciate it. Let's roll this. And like I said, 91 people live right now. So if you don't have those thumbs up, there are 30 people that do not have the like button hit. I said, I don't care if you're at the kiosk, the bar, or you're driving. Put those thumbs up, show some love, throw those emojis. Let YouTube know that I should be going live more. Okay. So we'll talk about this. And if you can't see this on your end,
Mark, I like JP's comment there at 515. That's a nice little parlay. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I got to be honest, you guys. There's a killer across the line from Mike Evans tonight. So he's kind of, I hate to do it, and I know he's on that farewell tour, but I might be kind of staying away from my guy Mike. There's a couple injuries that we need to talk about that are very relevant. Okay, so we'll get into it. Let's smash this first game first. We'll kick it off with Tampa Bay and Houston. We see the Buccaneers there going on the road, still minus Godwin. And Zach, feel free to chime in as you go. But that's kind of where this is a nice little sneaky quarterback rushing game, in my opinion. Okay. And you guys know I like the quarterback props. And I'm just going to go straight with it, guys. Kirk is still out for the Texans. And we all know kind of what is happening within there, Joe Mixon. But the biggest injury that will hinder and hamper this game, okay, and this is the one that everybody should be keying in on because it is the most relevant, all right? This is where we find the Tristan Wirfs injury, okay? He's out. That's a big one. Tristan Wirfs is out. Godwin remains out. Also, the newly acquired Benjamin Morrison, he's a little banged up. Notre Dame grad. Shout out to the Irish. Wish we had you this year, but money's money. And then that's kind of what we're looking at. All right. The one kind of takeaway, the best kind of what does Mark look for when betting this game and what is going to be the key matchup in this spot. Okay. This is going to be first and foremost. Let's turn back the time and go into the Bucs game against the Atlanta Falcons last week. Okay. And shout out to the last night's performance, by the way. Field goal kicking fantasy was absolutely thriving last night. How about that, Zach? There was like 5 field goals in the first half.
That was nuts, man. And that kicker, obviously didn't even know anybody's name out there. And we watched that first one barely slip in, and he was cracking skulls, and then it was smooth sailing. After
I think the first touchdown score bet did not hit till the fourth quarter, I believe.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
5 field goals.
I think there was, it might have been like 12-9 at halftime.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, so don't hold me to that. Okay, but this is it, guys. This is what you guys have to hear about. Last game, okay? Bijan Robinson, absolute freak, going against that Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense on a turf at home, all right? He had a 50-yard grab in the air, and outside of that, it was reception-wise is where he made his money, all right? But outside of the receptions, he had 12 carries for 24 yards going against that Bucs front, okay? That is the key bottom line. The handicap starts right there, Tampa Bay's run defense, okay? So we're going to be talking about that, and you guys see where I'm going. We're going to chase that number because we will look at the prop on the other side of that argument where we're going to be going under, okay? We will be going under. You know what I'm talking about. And that's kind of where I see the best bet in this game being, okay? It's not going to be sexy. You're going to hate yourself watching this game. And it probably, for lack of better words, if the number has dropped, you probably will lose that bet. But that will be a bet that I will be making. And if you're adding it to a same-game parlay, don't be shy about adding 10 yards, giving yourself a little bit of a cushion. But I really like the Chubb under rushing. We'll talk about that number later, okay? Just not the same player back in Cleveland. But there's a few guys that I am targeting from a prop perspective, all that good stuff. And, 23-20 against the Falcons. The Falcons defense at home looked really good. So maybe it's a little bit of a testament on how good that Tampa Bay offense could be. And the guy that I know you're going to love him, Zach, former Buckeye. We're going to talk Emeka Egbuka a little bit, okay? Mm-hmm. And that's where we're going to get down with some OSU, okay? And you don't hear me getting too excited for Ohio State players too often, but he's going to be a guy that we're going to feature a little bit, okay?
He looked great in camp, Mark, and all the word was that they were forming a great, connection there between him and Mayfield, and rolled it into week 1. I mean, he had a big game, and, with Godwin still out, the target's got to go somewhere. And like you said, Evans could be blanketed tonight. So I like it. I like where you're heading already.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get into some of the numbers. Right now, we're looking at the handle. Overwhelming a support there on the side of the Houston Texans, okay? We're seeing 70% of the money and 64% of the bets there. So a little inverse action. And also, we're seeing some money kind of shifted towards that over. And as we kind of look at this, guys, it's early in the season, but that is the number one handicap for me. If you guys have any perspective, fine. But I think it all starts with that Tampa Bay defensive line that will be on full display. And that's also going to go into my game script where I see the Houston Texans on offense trying to combat that, okay? And there's a couple players there for Houston that I think are a little sneaky. You're not going to get any sexy big names, but we're going to be talking some some guys that you may have not heard since college in this video. And we're going to be talking about some rookies along the way as well. But yeah, like I said, guys, I'm fading Mike Evans tonight. So if I'm wrong on that, let me have it. Watch the game and just post and just absolutely destroy me, because I don't fade Mike Evans. I probably bet on him over every single day, more times than not. And that's kind of where I stand on that. But I want to show kind of the Texans, okay? And I think it's Stingley, okay? That's who he's going to have going against him. The Texans, I believe it's Stingley. That's going to be his matchup. Yeah, Derek Stingley Jr. And Zach, we got Houston defense tonight. We need a big performance out of Stingley. Can't be having those Mike Evans anytime touchdown scores go off, and that's what we'll be looking at. So let's get into it, okay? And full disclosure, guys, I would be on the side of the Texans here. And I have to say, though, if you are going to play the Bucs, I'm a fan of the Bucs money line more so than taking the points. But I do like the Texans here. The one thing that does give me a little bit of a cause for concern is I didn't like how they played against Tennessee. And I think Tennessee's defense is a little bit stock up against the Rams. And I think that Rams-Tennessee kind of commingling a little bit. We saw the Rams drop some on the Titans. And, Houston, they got 9. All right, they got 9 and gave up 2 scores to the Rams last week and lost as a 3.5-point dog. So it's going to be an interesting bounce back spot. I did not like Tampa Bay without Wirfs. So those are my 2 messages. Tampa Bay offensive line stock down. Tampa Bay defensive line stock up. So kind of sets the board for that primetime under. Okay, but if you got any guys you want to look at, Zach, throw them out there. I will. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but this is Outlier. This is what we use. And I think we'll kick it off with some of the touchdowns first. Okay, so we'll target actually some of the guys that I do like, and we'll do it that way. So receiving yards for Chubb, or not for Chubb, receiving yards for Abuka. I think that's the best way to start off. I'm going to lay off of the Nico Collins numbers. Okay, pretty much all he got. But if you look at Abuka, over 50.5, kind of where we're at. You can find some alternates out there. FanDuel is 49.5, and that number really has not budged. Okay, has not budged. We'll see kind of where this movement is. This is one of the beauties of Outlier. Track line movements across all your favorite sports books. Okay, and you can kind of see on which respective sports books we've seen the most action. Now, this will be one of the best props, I think, bet. And the reason why, and this will be another kind of trend for us, Houston, they have a really good pass defense. Houston does not have a good slot passing defense, okay? And Emeka Abuka will be in that slot. And don't know exactly which nickel he will draw, but I think that against this kind of defense, he's going to have a chance. And there is another receiver there for Tampa Bay that will be kind of splitting a little bit with him. But if we look at the target share here, it's going to be Sterling Shepard, but they're kind of neck to neck. And I think that as Abuka does grow, now Shepard's interesting because he has that Oklahoma vibe with Baker. But Abuka there, it's about a 20% split their target share wise. Okay. And 6 to go alongside Evans is 8, which against Stingley, I think that will be lower. And I think we see Shepard, I think we see Abuka, and I think we see Irving, because the running backs kind of do some work against that Houston front. They're going to have to do some quick passes, some dump offs. So I'm going to go kind of the top 3 there. And Rachaad White, not really sure what his status is overall in that other running back position, but I think Cade Otton did not have a catch last week. So I am looking for Shepard, Abuka, and Irving to do a little bit more work out of the pass game than Evans tonight, and that's kind of where I stand. He had 67 first game of the year. I know you're big on Abuka, Zach.
Yeah, man, I really like Abuka. I mean, he got that early rapport, and I think with Evans again ailing in terms of age and Godwin out. I mean, I think he could be the number 1 when it's all said and done at the end of the year. In Tampa, and Godwin's kind of more of an underneath kind of threat anyway. But you mentioned another guy that did not have a good game. I know it's on the other side of it. I do want to talk a little bit more about Nico Collins when we get there, because I kind of like Nico Collins tonight.
Yeah. Let me close out on. Let me just close out on Abuka real quick, because this will be a guy that will find my card in some way. With Godwin out, I think Abuka's stock is up, up, up. I think he's going to only get stronger as the year goes. And like I said, slots versus Houston. Okay. So would not shock me if this happened. So, he had 2 touchdowns against the Falcons, and we're still seeing that number over $2. Okay. So that's still some really good value. All right. I still like that value for Abuka. If Baker's, and if he's throwing 2 touchdowns to Abuka, they got a little red zone connection going on in his first game of all time. Okay. Reception wise, before we close out on him, something worth noting, only had 4. I do think that will go over. And this is where we see this number is going to be set on. The odds makers think it will go over as well, because at 3.5, we're going to see, I'm not going to lay minus 205 for 4 receptions. And that's why you kind of have to go on board with his yardages, because 4.5, it probably will happen, but I do not know exactly what we're seeing here. From a target perspective, this is kind of where we're at. 4 catches out of 6 targets. So we need 5 catches out of 6 targets. I think those targets go up. I like a flat 4. I just don't want to pay that much. So if I was going to bet Abuka, it would be touchdowns or yardages. Okay. So we'll touch on, we'll go across the ball. We'll talk about your guy Collins, because this will be some of the data I want to pull up as well.
He just had such a poor game. I mean, last week, 3 catches for 25 yards, I think. Obviously, he was on the road against the Rams defense. I mean, back at home, I feel like Stroud's going to be looking for him, man. I think they need some firepower after putting up 9.
In the Rams, they do not give up a lot of fantasy points in general against other receivers. Okay, they're top 10 in secondary stats. Tonight, though, Tampa Bay receiving yards 29th. Okay, so 29th in the NFL allowed, and against the receivers, that goes a little middle of the pack. And I think this is still data pulled, incorporating. I think this is maybe based off of it's just this year. Okay. This is just this year, I believe. So it is just one game of data, I should say. But looking at him, here's something that does you kind of have to digest. They only threw the ball 30 times last game against LA. And out of those 30 times, this is kind of where that made up, a little bit over 50% of the plays were passing. And then from there, guys, you could see the target share, 5 targets. So that's kind of preaching to what you're saying as well.
Yeah, I mean, and you got you got some guys out there in that receiving corps too, right? You got obviously Tony Dell is still out, right? He got injured.
Tank Dell,
not Tony Dell. Tony Dell's NBA, right? And you also got oh my gosh, the cat from Buffalo. He used to play in Buffalo. Where's he at now? Who was the dude that was in Buffalo? The main guy. Somebody mentioned it in the chat. Come on now. Dude, the wideout that was in Buffalo.
Oh, no, he's not there anymore. He's with New England. Diggs.
Diggs. I mean, but this was a crowded receiving corps.
He's in divorce court or something right
basically
now.
My point was Nico Collins was putting up great numbers with a lot of these other guys that were in the mix. Now you just don't – you got a lot of unknowns. And I know, a lot of these guys got some targets, Higgins, Hutchinson. Obviously, they went to the tight ends quite a bit, Schultz and Cade Stover, but I feel like, the good thing about Collins is if you go with the yards, all you need is 1. I mean, he's a downfield threat. I mean,
he's a big play hit. Yeah.
He's a big play hit. So, I mean, you always have that in your back pocket. Even if you're down late in that, on that bet, all it takes is one with Nico.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because I want to kind of use that point about stock down on Nico, because the guy here that I do want to talk about, and a lot of you guys probably don't even know who he is, but that's Xavier Hutchinson. Okay, and I do want to talk about this a little bit more so because I do think that is how I would attack this from a receiving standpoint, more so than Collins. Okay. Collins, anytime touchdown. I like that. I think that's a little bit more in the range of what we could make out of those receptions. But this is kind of where we look into Hutchinson getting some looks again with the injuries there. And I think this is something where he will have more reps due to these injuries. It's going to be very similar to what we saw last week. You look at the 30 receiving yards he had against LA. And this was something where, it was 2 catches. And that's kind of where I kind of shift gears a little bit, because this number has moved a lot. This was at about 12 earlier in the week. So you can see kind of the action to the over that we've had on Xavier Hutchinson. But I'm a big fan of this. Okay. And I think this is kind of where, if you wanted to lay the juice, okay, and this is not flashy, sexy, but I do not mind adding this to your same game parlays. If you want to construct those, I don't recommend it. But the over 1.5 receptions, I think, is a pretty much an ATM bet here. If you do just want to lay the juice, 154 to win 1 unit. I do like Xavier Hutchinson a lot. And Tampa Bay, like we said, very porous receptions allowed. And this is just 2024, mind you. But that's kind of where I see attacking the Tampa Bay secondary is, look for some value. And I know this is a big number here, and you're going to have to probably catch one that climbs. DraftKings right now and Hard Rock are the lowest. But, I mean, I have no problem, especially with, applying that baseball mentality. A win's a win's a win. So if I got to lay 154, as long as he doesn't get hurt, that's a free unit if you do take the over. In my opinion, if you take the over with Xavier Hutchinson. Okay. So we'll kind of move this a little bit up a little bit. I want to get going. Sterling Shepard is the other one. Like I said, guys, me personally, I don't care if you guys take Mike Evans to score 4 touchdowns tonight. That's your prerogative. Go for it. I'm just staying away from it. Okay. I have it crossed off since last week. Fantasy perspective, even just handicapping this game, Stingley, I think, neutralizes Evans. And if he has 4 receptions and 2 touchdowns tonight, you guys please leave a comment and tell me, how wrong I was. But I don't see him getting into that 8 for 110 and a touch. Okay. I think it's going to be more of the same of what we saw last week. But I do trust Stingley a little bit better than what we saw. Okay. Sterling Shepard, though, very intriguing. 19.5 there. Baker's go-to guy from Oklahoma. I think one of them. But he had 40 against Atlanta, and that was made up going against a really good secondary. But that does kind of add in Atlanta's statistics after J.J. McCarthy absolutely kind of, for lack of a better word, shit the bed. And he will not be playing next week either. Okay. But this is where we saw like I talked about, the 20% that he does share with Ibuka. And, quite frankly, from a target perspective, 6 targets for 20 yards. Okay. I mean, do you like that, Zach? That's kind of like a little sneaky play there, but from
Sterling
a value
Shepard,
standpoint,
yeah.
19.5 there, getting 16 targets. I kind of like that one.
I like it too. What do you have last week? About 30 something, 37 yards, I think, last week, on a few catches. I mean,
39.
30. Yeah. I mean, so I like it too. I mean, especially I think with Ibuka having the big game, maybe they key in on him a little bit more. Shepard's a sure-handed guy. He's been around the league for a real long time. I think it is a nice play.
And that's pretty much it. I'm not touching Otton. I mean, yeah, you could go for some value, get on Otton, not having a grab last week. I don't really see the value in that, because if there is something going on, I do think the underneath will be there more. But he's kind of that intermediate tight end too. He gets it done more so on those stretch plays when things break down. Baker is mobile for my money. And, Cade Otton touchdown, just call it what it is.
That's where I would go.
I mean, this is 425 on DraftKings. Okay. This is a very good value bet. And even the positive EV, whatever you want to call it, this is also a suggestion there. So maybe catch the market sleeping a little bit. Okay. Plus 500 is a lot. So that's pretty much what we can get. The one thing I will tell you is Houston. Look at this against tight ends. We talked about that Houston vaulted defense. Second in the NFL. Okay. I'm sorry. Second, 2 receiving touchdowns allowed. Okay. Versus tight end. That was 1 to the tight end last week. Okay. So keep that in mind. That's not a ranking. It's a value. They gave up a touchdown to the tight ends last week, and that's just what I'm trying to get across. It's the way that they call defense, and do not think for a second that what we see there from a head coaching perspective, as we do look at kind of that. I guess you would say maybe an ego kind of deal. D'Amico Ryans just he's a linebacker, right? He's gonna stick to his guns. He's not going to change. Maybe add a little bit of a defensive package to kind of contain Baker. But, for all things considered, they went against Michael Penix and the Falcons, and I probably would think that he's a little bit better of a runner than Baker. Maybe not as sneaky, but you have to still game plan for it. So I think it's going to be a very similar strategy from what we're going to get from D'Amico Ryans. And I think that's kind of where, I don't know about you, Zach, but I am going to be probably having a play there on Cade Otton to score a touchdown.
I like it a lot, actually.
Yeah. And I do like that this is where you find the variance, right? So as we look at other books, and this does make me raise an eyebrow. I mean, Hard Rock's offering at $3.25. So FanDuel's $3.70. So that's 50 cents plus in a variance within the odds. So there's a lot of people that don't know which way this is going. There's money on both sides, and I think that this is what you would classify as short play when only you have to risk a quarter unit basically to win a unit plus. This is definitely a sprinkle that I think is warranted. And, this also does go back to the handicap as we look into the game. Total set at 42. So if we do get 42, we're not going to have a bunch of touchdowns, so that is something to keep in mind.
Mark, what's the number for receptions?
Wait a second. We got breaking news. Are you serious about this?
Anthony Richardson going to Cincy?
I got to pull this up. We got some breaking news.
Really?
I wonder if they dropped him in our league.
Well, it's kind of funny because 2 games into the Daniel Jones era, Richardson was kind of irrelevant.
Is that just a rumor? I think you're just playing.
Let's see here. I don't see anything. It would make sense.
Yeah. But like I said, guys, not a lot of touchdowns. Total set at 42. Keep that in mind. So, but yeah, a lot of people in the chat. Appreciate you guys spending some of your post work as we launch ourselves into Monday night matchups. And these are games I love from a betting perspective. I kind of like these 2 matchups and a lot of the games we had from a prop perspective. It just really sets up for a good night. And I promise you, we won't get 2 games like last night, 5 field goals in the first half. I mean, come on now. This is money's money, but there's better ways to make it and from an entertainment standpoint. So you guys are firing a lot of comments. Okay. A lot of comments. And want to get to some of your bets. We'll do that after we do this rundown. I want to keep this moving though, because there's a lot of content that I do want to go over. And this is kind of where we're going to segue into some other numbers here. And this will be another rusher here. One thing I want to talk about, though, on the Buccaneers side, okay, this is my bread and butter. This is the rushing attempts, okay, for quarterbacks. I love it because of the kneels, okay. I love it because of the kneels, and this is kind of where you're going to get some heat on them, okay. And I think this is something where you have to kind of use what we saw in past matchups, also versus quarterbacks. Okay, check this out. This is the past matchup. There really isn't anything yet as they do allow this for a quarterback. So I'm guessing that there was 0. I find that hard to believe. But he had 9.75 in his last 3 games. Okay, playoffs, on the run, has to win a game. Baker runs the football. Okay, and this does log some kneels. So you have to kind of keep the data and not be too skewed by it. But I'm loving the 3.5 for Baker. And also the one thing with Baker that I do with him versus other quarterbacks is I will venture into longest rush. Okay. And this is a bet that I do like. This will be an official bet. This will be Baker Mayfield over 8.5. I wish it was 7.5, and I have no problem adding this into my parlays at a minus 140 price. Okay. So I do like Baker longest rush. If you want to go into the rushing yards, this is where, look at him. I mean, this is the last 10 games dating back to last year. 60% he does go over what we're looking at. And this is plus money, guys. This is another bet that I do like a lot. So you could do your own Baker same game parlay. Okay. And if you have a free bet, you have some fun money, some pizza money. Baker anytime touchdown, Baker over 3.5 rushes, Baker over rushing yards, and Baker longest rush. If you can add that in your book, lets you do it. This is where I would go 14.5 minus 130. And this is pretty much, outside of playing the Texans, this is a bet that I really do like a lot. Okay. So like I said, I really do like the Baker rushing, and it's not a good matchup per se, but still I do think this one bodes well. And I'll look at the box score just to give you guys some insight on Houston from last week. Okay. And this is kind of where we see the Houston Texans. Okay. Check this one out. As the loss to the Rams. Okay. So obviously they were playing Stafford, and Stafford, his rushing stat line is usually, he's like the Tom Brady kind of guy. All right. It's a sneaky bet sometimes, but his rushing total is usually set at 1.5 rushes, and it's usually over under a half yard. Okay. So I like Baker a lot more. We didn't get that data point last week, but this is where, don't be shy of kind of pulling the trigger on the Baker rushing. Okay. And then kind of closing it out, I'm not going to be playing Bucky Irving. I don't like what he did last game. And going against the Texans defense, maybe reception wise, 2.5, sure. Okay. But this is where we look into the, not the first most, but I want to get into rushing. Just one last point on this before we switch games, because we got to keep this moving. This is where I kind of look into CJ Stroud as well. Okay. And this will be the two rushers that I do favor on the Texans. We'll pull up the CJ Stroud rushing yards. Okay. I do like this one a lot. And this will be not an attempts thing. It will not be a longest rush per se. I do not mind that. Where it's set at 9.5, and I think you can find 8.5. No, 9.5. Okay, 9.5 is available on BetMGM, 365, and DraftKings. I don't mind that, but I do think he gets over his rush yards. He had 32, 42, 42 respectively. Okay, and kind of where I see it playing out. All right, so if you do want to bet this, this is where you can find an alternate number. Going as low as FanDuel has it at -$2. Won't touch that. 12.5 though, might only be at Nova. Yeah, 12.5 at Hard Rock. So you're going to be at 11, 12, 13 for him. And I would go over for Stroud. So Stroud, Baker, quarterbacks in this game, love it. And I actually kind of want to do quarterback rushing for the next game. So I might do a little four-way wheel within the 4 quarterbacks within their respective teams. So that's where I'm at. I like that. And then also the rushing, okay, for Nick Chubb. This is a bet that I'm going to make based on principle. I bet it earlier in the week. I'm still going to bet it here today. This has dropped a little bit, and this is where you can find, and for some reason it's over, okay. Let me find that. Like I said, guys, I am losing my voice, so apologies. But this number has moved a little bit, and that's why I was waiting. But you can find on Hard Rock under 55.5. So almost 5 yards of the number in your direction going under. He had 60, okay? He had 60 against LA, who is bottom middle of what we're looking at within rushing defense. And he's going against arguably the best rushing defense in the NFL. Okay, so I will be taking Nick Chubb under 55.5 on Hard Rock. That is an official bet for me. Okay. So that's pretty much it. That's all I got for the Houston and Tampa Bay game. Zach, you got anything?
No, man, that sounds good. I got to jump, but
no, thanks. Thanks for stopping on.
Hopefully you guys rip some bets tonight.
What
and
is your best bet? We'll hold you. We'll hold you. We'll do a. We'll kind of keep. I'll write this one down on the chalkboard. We'll get a tally going. What is your best bet on the 2 games tonight? I know you got one.
I'm going to say for the value. Well, I mean, I would say Cade Otton touchdown just because you're getting almost
All right, so
500 there.
We're rolling on Cade Otton touchdown for Zach.
I think he gets one tonight.
That's the first thing on
after
your
getting
head.
blanked
Okay.
last week.
Sounds good to me. I'll be on that one.
And for the guy that said,
so.
does the other guy talk? Yeah, we just talk crypto. So come on over, check me out. Type in Zach Humphreys on YouTube. We'll talk some crypto. Mark, appreciate you, bro.
Right on, man. Thanks for the time. Enjoy it.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's Zach. He's my buddy. He has a crypto channel as well. And if you don't follow him, big in the crypto space, I'll just leave it at that. So you can find him on YouTube and on X. So let's get into this the late night matchup, okay? And the Chargers and Raiders, okay? This is kind of where we're talking about Justin Herbert taking on Geno Smith. And these will be 2 quarterbacks we'll be featuring in the rushing category as well. So kind of getting talked into that one a little bit, taking all 4 quarterbacks in some kind of same game, 2-game parlay. But we're seeing a lot of the handle favoring the Raiders in the spread. And also we're talking about the Chargers. This is a game where they fresh off a win against the Chiefs. One thing that kind of face value when I look into this game and spot the Raiders, they put up a ton of yards, okay, in week 1, okay? And there's a lot of things to be said about that, why that happened, what happened in that game. We talk about that familiarity with Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, breaking in that young running back with Ashton Jeanty. And for the Raiders, though, this is where we look at them. This is a very intriguing AFC West matchup, okay? And the one thing about the Patriots, I know they had 20 on the Pats, but Patriots don't have a really good defense. I'm just going to call it what it is, okay? And that's just my thoughts. The Patriots were able to beat the Dolphins, but the Dolphins really can't do anything quite well. They can do a few things, but not what we're going to be talking about on air, non-football related. But this is where Geno dropped 362, had a touch, and that was his Raiders debut, okay? I think they do have Chip Kelly calling the plays, so it's very enticing what the Raiders are going to be doing from an offensive standpoint, not too opposed to Geno Smith. The one thing about Harbaugh, though, I would say not so fast, okay? But this game will be played in Vegas. D'Angelo in the house. What side am I on, Houston or Tampa? I'm on Houston. I don't like the Houston defense matchup against Tampa Bay's offensive line. I think Baker's going to be pressured. We all know how Baker does with pressure, and Houston coming off a loss at home. I don't like Houston's offense in its current state, but I think the defense will be able to do just enough where Stroud can make some plays, and we'll see Houston come out on the win column. The one thing the guys is we are seeing 2.5. Be patient. If you do like Tampa Bay, maybe wait a little bit. You might catch a 3. You can find some 3 with some. But if you ask me who I like Are we back? Are we back? All right, guys. Sorry about that. One negative of having kids, they like to unplug things. So we'll just call it what it is. But it's great now. Jokes aside, so we are back, and let's get back into that second game. Apologize for a little technical difficulty. So let's talk about that Raiders Chargers game. This is going to be an interesting one. Okay, I think from a spread perspective, probably the most intriguing one out there. If you had to ask me, I think the correct side is the Raiders at 4. If you can find a 4, I do like the Raiders at 4. And that is kind of where we're talking about. And yes, I will do a recap at the end for all you guys. So no worries on that. Yeah. I have to put like a cage around that Wi-Fi router. Can't believe that. But first time for everything, I guess. So you could say you never watched a live stream where a baby pulled the plug on the router. So we'll just call it what it is. Anyways, so back into it, like I said, guys, from a total perspective, I would be on the over, and I would be on the side of the Raiders. They kind of correlate as well. If the Raiders are going to stay in this game, it's going to be because of offense, and I do favor the over a little bit more so than the side. And I think that just kind of piggyback off of Geno Smith last week. Okay. Saw him do a lot of damage there in Seattle, and, call it revamping, revitalizing, whatever you want to call it, of his career. I do think that does trickle into 2025. So that's how I see this one playing out. On the other side of the equation, Justin Herbert, Quentin Johnson, they do have that relationship going last week against the Chiefs where, for all things considered, different game plans for the Eagles, but the Chiefs defense kind of looked the part. I do question their secondary a little bit if they can't get pressure. And that was something where you saw 318, 3 touchdowns for the Chargers. Okay. That game was in Brazil. So little different atmosphere, environment, surface they're playing on. So, it is what it is. But I do think this one does lend towards the over and the Raiders. Me personally, I will not be betting the side officially. I probably lean the over in that game and the Texans on the -2.5 for just picking the best side or total in each game respectively. Okay. I will do my best bets at the end, but let's get into the player props, and then I'm going to open it up to you guys before we get out of here. Okay. One touchdown score that I do like a lot, and I don't mind it first, last, or anytime. That will be on the side of the Chargers, and that's where we're going to find them. Okay. And this is going to be a playoff of who was the best running back in the NFL draft. Okay. So Amarian Hampton, okay, -104. It's not, I guess you'd say, not sexy. It's not good value, but still basically almost even money. I think he gets in the end zone. Probably one of my more confident bets in the touchdown market. Amarian Hampton to score a touchdown. I favor that one quite a bit. Okay, so that will be on my card for sure. And also, as we do look into that Vegas front, this is where against the running back, they did not allow one last week, but still, rush yards, it is definitely where they looked a little decent last week against the Rams, and or not against the Rams, apologies. And that was kind of my takeaway. The Raiders looked really decent, okay, and that was against New England. So call it New England, all right. That was on the road in New England. Total was a 44. So I do think that one kind of sticks out to me a little bit. Hard Rock has Hampton at minus 155. Yeah, so that number might move. These sometimes do lag a little bit, but just call it what it is. I like Amari and Hampton quite a bit right now at minus 104. He does get that little dual backfield. You do have to worry about the vulture with him, but I still like that one quite a bit. And I think it might be a pride game. A lot of people had him as the number one running back to go in the draft, but Gene T got that nod and deserving. You guys know I like Gene T, but kind of where I see the running backs, the best bet for the running back market. I don't like Gene T in this spot, just being honest. Okay. And I'm kind of in that consideration where as we look at his numbers, I want to see him have a game that we could say, okay, this is Ashton Gene T, NCAA football 2024. Okay. I want to see those video game numbers. And right now, as we see this one set, total set at 67. And that's kind of the best number you can find is at Hard Rock, where you could basically say, hey, Ashton, go scores, go give us 70 yards rushing. He had 38 against New England. Chargers can play defense. They can stop the run. So I just say prove me wrong here. So I would take Gene T under 70. One thing you can also look into is the Gene T, and this is kind of my way to sidestep this a little bit. Take him to go under rushing and receiving. Okay. It goes against the grain a little bit with my overplay. But if Gino's going to be a passer more times than not, right now you can find this under here for basically under 90 yards is what I'd be comfortable that he won't get 90 rushing and receiving. I think that's the best way to approach this. Okay. And yes, we do have the potential where he breaks off a screen, but Ashton Gene T basically fade him until he puts up a video game number kind of day. Okay. So that's how I feel about it. I think that it's a poor matchup as well, and I just don't see him getting 90. Sorry to all the fantasy owners out there, but that's just kind of how I stack up. Okay. The one thing is also in this game on the Raiders side that is worth talking about, and that's going to be the receiving. We're going to shift gears to receiving before we talk about the quarterbacks, and that will be we'll talk Michael Mayer because I do think he will have stock up over 19.5. He had 38 last week against New England. Gino was friendly with him. And this is kind of where I see with Meyer getting an uptick possibly in usage. We'll talk about kind of his target share. Looking at kind of the amount of passing plays they ran. Okay, so 61% pass, and he did have a 12.1% target share. 4 targets, contrarian to the 8 for Bowers. But if Bowers is on the mend, he's going to be down. Meyer will be up. So over 19.5 for Michael Mayer, I do like a lot. And we'll kind of stick there, but with the receiving side of it. Yeah, I got you, man. Go to work. That's first and foremost. Okay. And no, I would not take Hampton at minus 155. Michael, I will get to my Herbert stuff. That's going to be lumped in that quarterback discussion a little bit later on. Okay. The other thing I will go approach here, I was really impressed with Quentin Johnson in week 1. Okay. And looking at that 39.5, he had 79. Okay. I think that's a little bit too low. Going into the reception standpoint, 5 receptions against the Chiefs. That stuck out to me, okay? And you get over 3.5 at almost even money. So I'm bullish on Quentin Johnson, targets, yards, touchdown, okay? I just see it that way. 20% plus of that target share in that offense. 7 targets, Lab McConkey got 9. So there you go. A little bit of a value play there on Quentin Johnson. I know he has burned us in the past, so it's not a lock, but it is something where that's where I see this one going. Okay. And kind of getting into this deeper within Lad. Okay. It's pretty much Lad everything in this game. From a touchdown standpoint, it's never usually that juicy. but receptions, he's the guy that I do ladder. Looking back in 2024, never got more than 9, so keep that in mind. But I do think that 6, as he did see that surge and uptick as the season progressed, I think that that's kind of his bar right now. And in 2025, he had 6 on, I think, 9 targets, we said. And the usage is there, okay? So in an offense where we look at kind of how they throw the football, 60% of the plays against the Chiefs were pass. Granted, it was kind of that comeback script in a way where you just had to kind of be aggressive against the Chiefs. You didn't want to lose the game running the football against Mahomes. Okay, so they put it in. Justin Herbert's hands, and when it is in his hand, I do think Ladd McConkey does prosper. Okay, so over 5.5 at -120. Love that one. At 5, it's a great parlay builder. That would be almost considered a lock at -260. And as we look in to his reception yards, this is kind of where you see this is unbettable for me. 75.5. He had 74 last week. Yes, he could go over. I just don't have the value there. So that will be a no play for me. If anything with Ladd, it's receptions. Okay. And D Money, appreciate it, brother. I do appreciate the super chat. And thank you for being generous. It does mean a lot. Okay. So as we get deeper into this, guys, the one thing I will say about this, most receiving yards, this is too low, though. This is way too low. Plus 175 for Ladd. You look at kind of what he did, most receiving yards in 2024. 35% of the games, he does have the most receiving yards. So this is the number's appropriate, but it is very juicy there at plus 175. So for Joe there with the fantasy Hail Mary, I think I qualify for the Hail Mary tonight. I need the Houston Texans defense to score 11.6 for the win. So we're rooting for some turnovers and potentially a defensive touchdown. But that's kind of how I see it playing out. And outside of those guys, that's pretty much it for this game. All right. But the one thing that I wanted to end with is the rushing. Okay. This is where it gets interesting. We're going to talk Geno and we're going to talk Justin Herbert because Mahomes, he had his way running the football. Geno's getting up there in age, but I still think he has it in him. And as we look at this, guys, 14.5, too much juice, but 15.5 for Herbert and 32 against the Chiefs. I like that one quite a bit. They will kneel. I think that in this game, if they do have the lead, and that's where you can look into the potentially rush touchdowns. I will stay away from that. But 7 attempts last game. Okay. 7 attempts. It was a little bit above the market, above the normal level. And if you want to kind of go into it, guys, 3.5 there on DraftKings minus 162. That is a great parlay builder. Okay. You can see basically over his last 10 games, he has had 4 or more. That's 70%. So I do like that quite a bit. I know it's a lot of juice, but still, I do like the over 3.5 for Justin Herbert. Longest rush is also something I do dive into with him. Once he gets going, he's like a deer. Okay, so 19 he had against the Chiefs, 41 against the Raiders, longest rush. Okay, and that's something worth noting. The last time they played the Raiders, it wasn't over. 54 points scored in that matchup, and he had a rush of 41 yards. So Justin Herbert, I think he's up for the task. So if you can find this, DraftKings minus 120, over 9.5, Justin Herbert, longest rush as well. Okay. And I do want to touch back before I do a little quick recap and open up the chat. I will show you guys kind of something. I do like the kicking props. I will tell you guys that with Dicker. And that was one with 1.5. Also kicker points. Those are things that I would dabble into. But the receiving there, the one guy that kind of is a sneaky play tonight. And, Conklin, he had a big one, but that's pretty much it. Nothing I can count on. But the one thing that I do want to talk about here is the Jakobi Meyers. Okay. And this is a guy, whereas we look at it for Myers, I just lost him. Okay. Receiving yards. This is where we can find it. 60 receiving yards. I mean, this is almost Old Faithful. Okay. And one thing is, against the Chargers, he had 123 last year, and this was back on January 5th. So pretty much love me some Jakobi Meyers tonight, especially with Brock Bowers kind of being, banged up. he's going to be in some kind of protective gear. I do think that will, we saw Gronk basically be all pro with that on as well. But I do like Jacoby Myers quite a bit as well. And 59.5 is a little too juicy, but I have no problem taking him, 62.5 at -130. I don't like to lay over -135 for props personally. Okay. So that is another player that I am targeting a little bit. But back into the player props, rushing. This is a sneaky bet. There's not too much variance in this, and it's not one that I'm probably my least comfortable one with the quarterbacks. Okay. But Geno in the rushing attempts category. Okay. He had 2 last week, 2 or 1 pretty much. But as we look into this, guys, this is a prop that I do favor quite a bit. Okay. So over 2.5 -110. I think we get there tonight with Geno. So I do like that one a little bit as well. Not my favorite quarterback prop, but still is one that I wanted to talk about. Okay. So that's pretty much it, guys. I will go full screen for this, and apologies. My voice is absolutely dreadful. So I do apologize for that. But yeah, I'll open up the comments for you guys that are still here. Apologies for the Wi-Fi outage, but those are the bets I like. Those are the props I like. I'm going to be on Texans -2.5 and the over Chargers Raiders. Those will be the sides and totals I will bet. Yeah, Joe, I don't mind that whatsoever. I kind of like that one a lot. What's your number on that? So that's pretty much what I got, guys. We'll do a quick recap, just to kind of. No, Bong Tokes. I'll talk about the player props right now. That's interesting. That's very interesting. MLB. Yeah, it's tough to do both. I gotta be honest with you guys. Like, I don't like to handicap baseball and football. There's just too much work on both sides. But I do it during the week. But weekends, and it's not even just like me doing the numbers. It's just I have so much attention to college, NFL, and it just does not stop. And with my other schedules, if I feel like betting baseball, I gotta be better at that. I know. I apologize. But I'll give you guys one just for the hell of it, because I got to get going here. I got to take care of some stuff before kickoff. But favorite bet for the small baseball slate we have today. For overs, that is. I don't mind the over in the Giants and Diamondbacks. Just being honest. If Reds Cardinals was in Cincinnati, I'd be on that. But that's probably my favorite. And it's about the pitch, but the Atlanta Washington game, depending on the wind, I don't mind that. So, but if you got to force me to bet an over tonight, it would be Giants and Diamondbacks. So let's just hit the props again real quickly for the NFL games. That way you guys can get out of here as well. But in this game, I'm doing Baker rushing. Abuka over receptions. And then we're going to go small play on K-Dot and touchdown. I don't love it. Okay. I don't love it. I know it's a different offensive scheme. And it's just too much. It's too much. It's almost 5-1. So I have to play it for a quarter unit. But yeah, I'm on Abuka. I'm going on that one. I do like the I'm trying to remember all these without looking at my phone. The Abuka over receptions. We're also going to go with the rushing yards for Baker, and then I'll pull it up. The Xavier Hutchinson receiving yards. I do like that one going over. Okay. And the best bet in that game is we're going to go Chubb under 60 yards. I did find that one. There is a sports book that does offer that at a reasonable price. Okay. So that's where I'm at with those games. I'm off the Mike Evans. I'm stock up on Sterling Shepard and Abuka. Slots are going to be live in this one for me. And those are basically my top plays for that game. Okay. So those are the ones that I'm targeting. And like I said, so under on Chubb, Abuka, you could go touchdown props. You can go over 3.5 receptions. And I do like Sterling Shepard over 20 as well. But Baker, it's going to be longest rushing attempts, possibly even a touchdown. I'm not going to bet that, but I don't mind it. And then, the rushing yards for Baker as well. And then also the one other bet in that game is CJ Stroud longest rush, or his rushing total going over. It's too low of a number. Okay. The next game, Chargers and Raiders. This is where I'm going to go under Gene T rushing and receiving under 90. That is a bet that I'll be making. Also, stock up on Quentin Johnston. If you find a good number on that, go for it. And then I don't like betting passing props personally. That's just me. Michael Mayer over his receiving yards of 20. That's a bet that I do like as well, with the status of Brock Bowers unknown. And then probably the Marion Hampton rushing touchdown. That is my most confident touchdown score of the evening. And then we'll go over with Herbert's rushing as well. And we talked a lot about Quentin Johnston. I do like him. That's going to be one of my bets. And if you can find Myers, I think it's over 60. That's a bet that I like as well. So pretty much it. Sorry, I don't have like a formal recap. It's 2 games. If it was 1 game, I'd do a little better job. But I will kind of post these all on Discord for you guys to see. If you guys are not on the Discord, please do so, and I will post that real quickly, and then you guys will have that before 6:30 with all the prop bets that I do like for tonight's contest. All right, this was fun. Hour and 20 minutes. Good luck tonight. Let's have some fun, cash some tickets, and Ty, for my official bets, I can, but I'm going to post those on Discord. So I will. Are you on Discord? Can I just do it that way? Because I want to like write the best numbers and all that stuff. So it's just a little easier than me just kind of rattling them off. But I will do it this way. That way you guys have it. Let me just type it out. Here, just give me 1 sec. I don't normally do it this way because I like too many props in this game. So I'm going to probably just put this in some kind of same game parlay. Mm. That's pretty much enough. So apologies. If I was feeling better, I would do this the more formal way where I just had it all. So kind of where I'm at. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for the super chats. I do appreciate that a lot. And good luck out there. And I'll see you guys over on the Discord a little later. We'll talk it up. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with MLB. Cheers.